Okay, class, if you could all open your Naruto Shippuden textbooks and turn to page 465, today we're going to learn about the very origins of ninjutsu. Going into this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden, I was almost ready to hate it, and that's just because I have been hitting filler fatigue, and as much as I would like to beat a horse to death on this one and saying that this should have come before the entire final battle with Kaguya, I have to admit that this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden was honestly kind of welcome. Getting to learn the true backstories of Indra and Ashura, the sons of the Sage of the Six Paths, was surprisingly exciting, and if there's any Naruto fans out there who exclusively just read the manga version, check out this episode. It does a really great job of expanding on the backstory of the entire series. If you ever really wanted to learn about the true origins of the Uchiha clan, you're gonna see it in this episode. Not to mention, you'll get to see the growing gap between both Indra and Ashura, the sons of the Sage of the Six Paths, who are very much like Naruto and Sasuke. Their relationship is also incredibly reminiscent of Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha. In fact, that's kind of the vibe that I got from this episode. It kind of reminded me of the backstories of Madara and Hashirama. However, what's most interesting about all of this episode is that we actually get to see the formal introduction of ninjutsu, or jutsus that we see in the Naruto universe. And this was all created thanks, of course, to Indra, the eldest son, who actually activates his Sharingan for the very first time in this episode, which is effectively the birth of the Uchiha clan. Of course, he got a little bit of help from Black Zetsu, another extremely mysterious character, and we get to see him in a completely different form in this episode, and he's just as creepy and manipulative as always. But like I said, what's most interesting is that Indra himself has realized that if you concentrate your chakra and you weave different hand signs, you can actually create destructive powers, using fire, using water, basically using all of the elements from the series. And you get to see as all of this is going on, Black Zetsu is watching in the shadows and manipulating all of these events simply so that he can activate his Sharingan Eye and hopefully at some point in the future activate his Rinnegan in an effort to revive his mother Kaguya. And throughout the entire episode, you get to see him hanging out in the woods, atop of trees, appearing right in front of Indra in a lot of really creepy ways. Black Zetsu does a pretty good job of actually hiding his true form. He's got this new outfit that we've never actually seen before, wearing this like weird straw-like cloak, and underneath that is just some regular clothes, but his entire face is still obscured. All you see are his glowing golden eyes and occasionally his big creepy smile. And I love the way how he'll just sort of randomly appear in front of Indra and then just suddenly disappear by exploding in his face. It's really ominous, and it really paints him as one of the biggest villains of the entire series. Of course, because Black Zetsu is manipulating Indra, he's also trying to create a rift between the clans. Essentially, you get to see by the end of the episode that Indra's character has changed dramatically. In the first half of the episode, he's basically just a really cool, nice kid, but when he starts to develop jutsu and starts to be manipulated by Zetsu, you can see that he's starting to grow apart from his father, and especially from his brother Ashura, who is the complete opposite of him in every way, and the only way to truly describe it is very much like the relationship between Naruto, Sasuke, Hashirama, and Madara. Almost carbon copy. And you know what? That makes sense, because of course Indra and Ashura, their souls are constantly reincarnated into all of these new characters. You actually get to see the very origins of the biggest Naruto characters in this episode right here. And we also get to see them learning to use jutsu for the very first time, going through some sparring matches, which have some pretty decent animation attached to them. Of course, this is also sending a huge rift through the entire clan as well, because before, the whole point of Hagoromo Otsutsuki, the Sage of the Sixth Path, and his plan was that he wanted to bring people closer together through the use of chakra so that they can have a better understanding, which will lead to more peace in the future. By creating these jutsus, it's potentially going to create a lot of conflict, thus more war in the future. Although, all of these events are being puppeteered by the master himself, Black Zetsu. It's kind of strange that Hagoromo actually can't even notice that this guy is actually hanging around, but then again, for the most part, he's just sort of in the background of these episodes, and this story right here is wholly devoted to Indra and Ashura. I would actually have to say my favorite scene is when they finish up some training, Ashura decides to go hang out with some of his friends, and they go out into the woods to hunt down this big wild boar, which is clearly being manipulated by Black Zetsu, and Indra Indra has to come in and end up saving the day by using this electrified jutsu for the first time, and this is actually how he activates his Sharingan, the creation of the Uchiha clan, and he's very shocked by these events, but also it allows him to gain more power, and of course, to inflate his ego just a little bit, with a little bit of help from Black Zetsu. So what's the rundown on this episode right here? This one right here was great. I did not expect to like it as much as I did, because I'm just so tired of all of the backstory, and you didn't really need to see this. This is stuff that you could live without. You could just infer that Black Zetsu manipulated all of these events and created a rift through the Hagoromo or the Otsutsuki clan, but no, by doing this, they're actually expanding a little bit more, not just on Indra and Ashura, but also on the relationship between Naruto, Sasuke, Hashirama, Madara. We get to see the whole history and how it was all started right here. And of course, seeing a completely different world of Naruto is always interesting. Actually getting to see the very creation of hand signs, which is one of the biggest things in the Naruto universe, was surprisingly exciting. It also helped that this episode had some pretty decent animation and art direction, which is a good step up for a filler episode. But this is a filler episode that I honestly think a lot of Naruto fans need to check out, especially those who only read the manga, because this is going to give you a better appreciation for all of this stuff, and anime viewers, just continue watching. We're getting this much closer to the end of this backstory, which means we're almost going to be at the final battle of the series. I pray when we finally get to the very end, they decide to not insert any more filler arcs and just get right to it. I know that the Naruto Shippuden anime series is incredibly profitable, especially with all the merchandise that they're slinging and everything, but we need to get to the end here, and honestly, I don't think there's going to be that much more backstory on Indra and Ashura. It looks like we might even get to the conclusion of that in the next episode. We're just going to have to wait and see. That being said, this week's episode did a pretty great job of expanding on the very origins of the Naruto universe, and it did so with some pretty good animation and artwork for Naruto standards. So this is still a pretty good episode. It's highly recommended viewing. If you're a Naruto fan, you should at least watch it once. I'm going to give this episode right here a 4 out of 5. Color me surprised. I really ended up enjoying this one right here. It was atmospheric, and I'm actually really enjoying the backstory of Indra and Ashura, and getting to see how the relationship started as loving brothers, which would eventually turn into the ultimate feud in the Naruto universe. So there it is, my friends. Make sure to check out this episode, but if any of you did watch this episode, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below. You guys are kick-ass! Thank you for watching this review. I really appreciate it. If you would like to help support Super Kami Guru 9000, you can do that in a number of awesome ways. Obviously, you can subscribe to the channel. That way you'll see all of our latest anime and manga reviews. Make sure to share this review with all of your friends. You can also smash that like button right now, and make sure to check out all the cool links we got in the description box below. It'd be really, really awesome. So thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!